See how he plays the opening part of this race as well.
There's Barnard on the left-hand side of your picture and Oliver Rowland on the right. 22 of the world's best drivers ready to take to the grid for this one. Dan Ticktum, as I said, his best ever qualifying in Formula E. The 5 red lights are about to come on as we wait to see who will be the master in Monaco as the lights go out and we go racing. Rowland chops over on Dan Ticktum as Barnard leads them down towards the first corner. Look at the Frijns on the outside in the Mahindra. Side-by-side action there further back. They go 2x2 through Saint-Devant, up the rise of Maserati and into Beau Rivage and Casino Square. It's Barnard who leads from pole position at the front of this race.
Track position really important in this race. It's not like some of the other the Formula E tracks we've been to, which are big, wide open tracks. You can overtake here, but track position, getting ahead of the opposition will still be critical.
And Taylor Felix Acosta trying to make some ground here from 15th on the grid. That is Nico Muller on his inside. There is Edoardo Mortara, who is side by side with Max Gunther in the DS Penske. On the outside there, Dennis getting friendly with Pascal Wehrlein. It's 3 abreast in the middle of the pack there. Someone's going to come off worse for wear, surely, as they go through down into Porsche. And somehow they all manage to retain their front wings. Wehrlein moving ahead of Dennis in all of that melee.
Yeah, surprising actually that they're taking such a risk at this stage of the race. You know, we know this is going to be a slow burn the first few laps and then the strategy will start to come into play. But I guess the theory is, if they're all bunched up and you can get an easy place, go for it. But it's quite a high risk.
So, Tom, as you were saying before, this is the first time we've got pit boost here. So it's a little bit of the journey into the unknown in terms of the strategy. But I think what we'll see now is a little bit of what we call a banking period. I think
There's definitely a weird noise coming from my car, mate.
You can kind of hear it, actually.
Hear it, can you? Like a rattling almost. So sort of quite a harsh rattling noise.
Exactly. Well, we don't actually know what, if any, of the drive parts they had to change other than the suspension.
Yeah, for those of you misqualifying, Rowland crashed down there at Saint-Devant in qualifying, hit the rear left quite hard, and you know, in the 2 hours we've had in between, they would have had to repair some bits, but maybe there's some lingering damage.
Yeah, so let's see what happens there for Oliver Rowland. Second he is at the moment. Nyck de Vries right behind. Ticktum's lost a place off the start then as they calm it down through and into Mirabeau. Wider line there for Ticktum as he looks to the outside. It's so tight in the front of the pack as you can see them all jostling for places. There's Dennis on the outside of Pascal Wehrlein, side by side the Andretti versus the Porsche. A bit of contact between them, but no harm done, and Dennis manages to hold place.
Yeah, we'll have a look and see. Let's listen into Rowland. We've heard him complain. Let's listen off throttle into the chicane here. Yeah, it sounds like something scraping along the ground almost, doesn't it? And there.
Yeah, on Axel as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is, it's got to be drive related. Can't be any of the suspension parts, so maybe there's something on. Doesn't appear to have any issue on deploying his energy.
So what we're looking at, so just to finish up my point, this is the point where they want to save energy, bank energy. The pace will be a bit slower than what we'll see later on. Then there'll be a point, Tom, around lap 10 or 11, where they'll go for it. They'll absolutely unleash some pace, especially the leaders. We'll see some attack modes, because the pit stop window, we think, is between lap 13 to lap 18. That's where the pit boost will take place, and they'll all have to do the same stop, which takes Muller. That's a problem. That's not a pit boost stop. That's a rear right problem there.
Yeah, Muller must have had a puncture or something along the lines of that. That's such a shame for the German driver. And
painfully slow stop as well.
Well, he's going to have to be hoping now for a safety car to try and bring him back into some form of contention in this race. He's now back out into the fast lane, but that's a huge disappointment there for him. Look at Sam Bird on the outside of David Beckman, trying to make some moves there in the Neon McLaren as Muller exits the pit lane and it jostles up for position down at the Fairmont hairpin. And it's out. As Casti now is out of attack mode, he's back in two-wheel drive, he's back at 300 kilowatts of power in this one.
Yeah, and what will happen when you use attack mode, you also use more energy, so he will have to spend a few laps now just banking and saving some energy and just trying to put some back in the tank. But I think that's worked out reasonably okay for him, because he can, you know, he can kind of now go maybe for an early stop and make the benefit of that track position.
Yeah, now they're in a position, if there's something unusual with safety car, virtual safety car, who knows, red flag, then yes, the others will still have their attack mode, but he still has one more.
Good fair racing, you have to say. They both, all three of those drivers, both Jaguars and Ticktum, gave each other room.
Just over 1% down on energy compared to Rowland and De Vries. ISO to Wehrlein and Dennis, no concerns.
Right.
Keeping the driver informed in the picture as to where he is, and I guess, well, you'd rather be one ahead than one behind.
Got a yellow flag down at turn 8. That's on the exit of Portier in the tunnel, so I wonder if there's some debris on track, maybe following some contact down the order. We'll wait and see what happens. If it's debris, if it's in a dangerous place, they might throw a safety car, but the yellow flag is now removed. There's a slippery service flag that's then soon cleared here as well, but it's now come back on, so we'll keep an eye out and see how this is going to develop. Yeah. Oh, big one. There's the Porsche. That's the Costa, I think, in the wall. It is Antonio Felix da Costa out of the race in spectacular style at the final corner. No doubt about it. Safety car, that changes the complexion of this there for da Costa, but he's going nowhere in that one. You can see quite clearly front right suspension absolutely buckled as Evans goes to the outside.
Speaking, we will go full course yellow in 3, 2, 1. Full course yellow, please.
Oh. That's tight. That is tight between the Jags and Dan Ticktum there. Yeah. And he'll try and argue that he was ahead going into Portier.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an argument there between the teams to see who's more persuasive.
Look at this. This is like when you're at an average speed camera on the motorway, isn't it? And you're waiting for it to go back to national speed limit.
Except when they get to the chicane, there's only one line through there, or room for one. So what are they going to do then?
Course yellow ending in 5, 4, 3, 2.
So full course yellow ends then, the green flag flies on lap 11, and look at that opportunist for Jake Dennis as he goes through on 2 drivers.
De Vries was asleep. De Vries was completely asleep there, and Wehrlein tried to have a look, but it was Dennis who took full advantage of it and gained up into 3rd place.
That's amazing that he would miss that, because it's not like his engineer's telling him, it's the clerk of the course that's on the radio. So unless he had communication issues and he just didn't hear it.
Look at Vandoorne going head-to-head with Bird here as well. Hughes just in front of him. Keep an eye out as well for Lucas de Grassi in the blue and yellow. Lola Yellowheart out because he is in attack mode. Took that as soon as the race restarted and will be cycling his way up the order here as they come through Portier.
I think Hughes has gained on that restart as well, just like Dennis, because he was 2 behind Vandoorne. He's now gained 2 places. So again, looks like some drivers caught napping on the restart, but not Taylor Barnard, still up in the lead.
So through into Tabac we go. Barnard, Rowland, Dennis, that's your top 3. De Vries down to 4th place and Wehrlein in 5th position. That's the advantage of being a bit further down the order. Look at Rowland trying on the inside against Taylor Barnard into the swimming pool chicane. Barnard takes to the escape road. That's going to cost Rowland potentially some momentum and maybe a possibility at track position here too.
Yeah, we definitely need to be able to see that again, because he had enough of his car alongside, I believe, to claim the corner. Was always, it's a little bit like Anthony Noakes. It's only ever going to end in tears if the other car tries to take the turn.
Yeah, but I think you've got a point. Are the stewards going to look at it and go, hang on, he cut the chicane and stayed in front? So will Barnard be asked to give that place up?
Dennis is under investigation for overspeeding under a full course yellow. So did he mistime it instead?
Oh, so maybe he went early and not the others caught napping.
We'll wait and see what happens there, but that's come up
as a couple of seconds.
Yeah, about 1.5 seconds is what the teams think it will be with time loss.
Ticktum again looking on Cassidy into the hairpin for the outside line, trying to switch it for the inside down the hill, but again I think it's just a little bit too far away for the Briton at the moment. On board we ride here then with Jake Dennis through the tunnel. 7th in the Drivers' Championship, as you can see.
The surface control. We go full course yellow in 3, 2, 1, full course yellow.
Another full course yellow then for a 2nd time in this race. Drivers must slow down, they must not overtake, and Mitch Evans' race comes to a premature conclusion following a technical problem. That's a huge shame for Jaguar at a race where they've had a lot of support here this weekend.
And Muller's benefited because he was the only one in the, in that state of charge below 60% that allows him to pit. So he's going to lose much less time and actually could bring him back into play here.
Well, that's exactly what we were talking about. He needed something like a safety car, like full course yellow at the right time. And could this be an opportunity for Nico Muller to try and
Boemi?
It's just the luck of the racing gods, isn't it, when that happens? When
Buemi's is not a...
But he's missed. Buemi's missed his pit box.
It's not a pit, it's not a stop, it's changing a rear tyre. I think he's got a puncture.
Oh, right.
So Buemi's race then coming undone here as well.
Yellow ending in 5, 4, 3,
very
2,
slow getaway.
Green flag.
Race to the exit of the pit lane as the green flag flies, and racing gets back underway then here in Monaco, and you can see a lot of drivers now in the pit boost window. Rowland going for attack mode on the restart then.
I think that's a smart move. I think now with the pit boost window opening, Rowland wants free air with extra power and speed. This is exactly what he did to tactical brilliance in Jeddah. I think he's gone for the same move. We'll see if it works out, because Barnard's got great pace, as we saw through qualifying as well.
The attack mode zone has actually been moved about 7 metres earlier on in the corner, so I wonder whether Rowland, because he was really close when the race resumed from full course yellow back to green, whether he was just in the right place at the right time. Maybe Barnard was just a couple of metres too far to possibly activate it.
Yeah, we're going to...
The left-hand side of the screen, when it goes from white to green, that's when you know a driver has taken their pit boost. They don't owe it for the remainder of the race. What about Barnard? He's in, as well as Jake Dennis following through.
Pit confirm.
Frijns also in the box as well.
So the game that Barnard and Dennis are going to play is they've not taken any attack mode now. So they're going to get a top-up of energy, an extra 10% of energy, but they will have 2 attack modes to try and overtake Rowland later on. So they've gone for effectively the card, and who's the next one behind him would be Dennis, wouldn't it?
It would.
But I tell you, the one who's gained is Nico Muller, don't forget.
Yeah.
Because Muller has pitted. Muller's actually effectively ahead of Barnard and Dennis, isn't he? Because he's already pitted.
It's worked out, so significant difference in the lap times, and he's taken a big chunk out of him just last time around as Vries goes in for his final attack mode deployment. Dennis behind has still got 1 remaining. So 4 minutes then for Vries, and he should be able to, in theory, power away from him. So this has been quite detrimental to Taylor Barnard's race victory opportunities. All of the the jumbling up of the pattern, of the order, I should say, in this race, following the full course yellows and the pit boost.
Watch Rowland. Rowland is all over the back of Cassidy. I think Cassidy's now got the message that you're 8-9% down on energy, as Beckman's done an investigation for a pit boost infringement. So Rowland now, he's there, isn't he? He's within a second of Cassidy. In fact, he's gotten ahead of Cassidy, I think. Yes, down at the chicane. So Oliver Rowland now up into second place, and only 3 seconds, so it's less than half the deficit, or more than half the deficit, to Nico Muller in the lead.
Yeah, well, the one thing for Rowland, for Vries, Dennis, Barnard, etc., all that are close behind.
Gap with Rowland, 5 seconds. We need to stay 2.5 seconds ahead of Rowland, and we will concatenate attack. Currently 4.3 with Rowland, 4.3 with Rowland.
Vries looking to the outside of Cassidy into Sainte Devote, can't get his way through there, but he's got better traction and a lot more power up the hill. This will be easy pickings then for Vries as he elevates himself up into the podium places. But the problem is Muller surely is going to be vulnerable here at the end of the race. He goes into attack mode then for this final deployment of 4 minutes. He's now going to have a pace advantage over Oliver Rowland, but has he got enough energy left to be able to run the rest of this race flat out, or is he going to have to back off? Rowland knows that. He's just got to keep on the rear wing of the Andretti to keep within distance and a chance of victory.
I think Muller's going to be relatively okay on energy, actually, because when that last graphic came out, he's done a couple of laps. That's all you need. These cars are incredibly good at recharging the battery. If you do just a couple of slow laps, which he's done, I think this is now a straight fight in terms of pace and attack modes. Rowland's kept 1 attack mode in the back. Look,
will be spent.
But the risk, though, is if he does that, then you get a safety car, you get a red flag like we had in Miami, which is probable here in Monaco. You might not be able to use all of that attack mode to the end. Look at Barnard there on the outside of Wehrlein. Side by side they go. It's a contact, and Barnard into the barrier. Taylor Barnard, the pole sitter, looks to be...
Let's see, he's trying to get out of it. There we go. Well, as you were just saying about safety car, that's the risk, isn't it? That Nissan are playing as Vries goes round the outside.
Makes it stick, he's into the lead, is Nick Vries then here. So he's got 17 seconds of attack mode remaining. Muller is in the pound seats, and Dennis as well coming through. So I wonder, could we see the two relatively similar amounts of attack mode remaining, and will we see the two teammates working in unison in the closing stages of this race?
I think Rowland needs to go for attack fairly soon, because everyone's getting a bit more feisty, aren't they?
Well,
and you could end up with that safety car scenario you talked about.
Sorry, Corinne, he's lucky as well because he's got Casti behind him. He's having to lift off as the two Andretti. Nice buffer.
And Mortara's there now.
Yeah, Mortara's just gone through, hasn't he? So, but Casti was creating a nice gap there for Rowland.
That looked like a team agreement because they're both in attack mode, and Dennis was able to overtake very easily.
Both cars ahead, one more lap.
Update on incident, update on incident.
Track clear, let's open the gap and go. Track clear.
So Rowland then does go for his final attack mode deployment.
Yeah, but he's dropped behind Mortara. That was not ideal for him because Mortara's still got another 46 seconds to go, and that's not ideal for Rowland, because he needs to get through this pack if he wants to win this race. But Dennis, this is Dennis's opportunity down to the chicane, Tom.
Here we go then. On board we ride with Nyck de Vries, and he sniffs an opportunity of victory for the first time in over 12 months. Down into the chicane we go. De Vries parking the car on the apex, defending with every ounce of talent and experience that he has. Mahindra having a great race, and he pushes Dennis to the inside as we come into back, and Dennis has to back out of a potential overtake into that left-hander. De Vries a bit of a sitting duck because he has got two-wheel drive compared to the four-wheel drive of Dennis, but he's coming to the end of that deployment now, and we're heading towards Raskas. Dennis surely is going to have to try and find his way through.
He's out of attack mode, so this is, yeah, he's got no more attack mode to go now. This is a straight fight in terms of power and drive. Can Dennis still make the move? Rowland's coming. Watch Rowland up into third.
Yeah, this is going to be well for Oliver Rowland. He's pulled this one out of the bag. 4 laps to go then here at Monaco, and it's anybody's guess as to who is going to be the victor. We come up the hill and Oliver Rowland muscles his way through on the Andretti and goes into second place. Brilliant stuff from Oliver Rowland. The strategy so far is working out perfectly for the Briton.
Yeah, and he's still got 2.5 minutes, so he will get 2 laps, basically, nearly 2 laps of attack mode. He can just be patient. He can pick his moment to get past De Vries and then just save the energy to the flag. We still are waiting for confirmation, but we think there'll be 1 added lap based on the time we've had of full course yellows. But yeah, watch Rowland now. Coming through into Portier. Out of Portier, into the tunnel. This is it. We're looking back from Nyck de Vries. And watch Rowland. 50 kilowatts more power. 4-wheel drive. Does he make the move?
He's going to go for it then. And nothing that Nyck de Vries can do. On the outside goes Oliver Rowland into the Nouvelle chicane and up through into the race lead. He's got enough amount of energy left as well.
I need Nico to get his elbows out. Yeah, copy.
And that's what we were saying about the Andrettis. Are they going to be able to work together? They're sort of falling out of distance at the moment. Muller's got a little bit more energy compared to Dennis, but I don't know if it's going to matter too much.
Yeah, but they've not played the game well there at Andretti, because Muller was way down on energy.
Dennis, 5-second time penalty for overspeeding under a safety car. Sorry, under the full course yellow that we saw earlier on. So
I don't know if that was on that restart. It might have been somewhere else, because the restart looked okay to me, but it might have been somewhere else. Anyway, 5 seconds, that's going to take him off the podium, isn't it? Because that'll now drop him from where he is now into 7th place.
Yeah, it's quite a detriment there for Jake Dennis. What a shame for his race to come undone. And well, what he's going to have to do is get Nico to get his elbows out, as he was saying on the team radio a few moments ago, create a gap back and try to salvage a result for that team. But I don't know if there's anything that Nico is going to be able to do. The thing he can hope for is that Mortara and Wehrlein behind are going to start squabbling amongst one another and keep the German driver in the Andretti out of it.
Yeah, exactly that. That's what they need, isn't it? They need Muller to go as slow as possible to just open up the gap and just give Dennis as big a margin as they can, because I don't think he'll end up at 5 seconds unless Muller's, I don't know, magically hits a button to widen the car twice as much.
So down in towards the chicane we go. Dennis sniffs an opportunity of second place on the road, but will it be second place once the checkered flag falls? 1 added lap then in this race from 29 up to 30, and what a dramatic conclusion it is turning out to be. And once again, in all of the drama that has unfolded, Oliver Rowland is pulling it out of the bag in the Nissan. He is coming to the end of his attack mode.
Gap 5.2, De Vries playing the same game with Mortara.
Yeah, working quite nicely then here for Jake Dennis to keep that final podium place, and that's the beauty of having 2 cars in this Noah's Ark formation. We saw it last year here, if you remember, with Jaguar when they took a 1-2 finish as we come to begin the final lap of racing here in Monaco. Last year, it was Jaguar who used Nick Cassidy and Mitch Evans perfectly. They played the team game brilliantly, held the rest of the pack up so the other could take attack mode, and that was how it finished at the end of that one. And a similar story for the two Andrettis using team tactics.
Yeah, I mean, when your driver tells you the opening lap of the race that he thinks there's a reliability problem, that's, you know, that's a nervous time for all of these people in that Nissan pit garage. But fingers crossed, he's got half a lap to go now as he turns into the tunnel. This has been a fantastic start to the season so far for Oliver Rowland, and he's half a lap away, Tom, from adding another victory.
Yeah, it's coming down into the closing stages of this one, and unless lightning strikes twice.
Final lap, mate, bring it home.
De Vries been told to bring it home in second place, and this will be a very welcome result, not only for Nyck de Vries, but also for Mahindra as well. We come through into the final sector. Oliver Rowland, what a performance it has been. He's taken a podium in Monaco back in 2019, but he's never been on the top step. He has just one more corner to go here on the streets of Monte Carlo as he rounds as he knows, comes out of the final corner to cross the timing line and take his third victory of the season. Oliver Rowland wins the Monaco E-Prix ahead of Nyck de Vries for Mahindra, taking his first podium since 2022 and Mahindra's first since 23. Dennis holds on to third place at the checkered flag as well. Mortara mugs Muller on the timing line at the end of that race as the rest of the field come over and take the checkered flag. Roger Griffiths absolutely delighted for the Andretti team to hold on to that final podium.
So, yeah, pretty relieved to make it to the end, but yeah, thank you.
You're once again proving to be the tactical master. How did the strategy work out for you? Early attack mode, unlike the others. Did it work out the way you hoped?
Yeah, we were a little bit doubting ourselves on the grid with what we did, but I think the later one worked pretty well just because obviously the risk of full course yellow and stuff like that, but yeah, I think we nailed the strategy today, and big credit to the team.
Right, you're a Monaco winner here in Formula E. Enjoy the podium.
Thank you, Corinne, thank you.
Amazing job from Oliver Rowland, his first victory on the streets of Monte Carlo. Fantastic result, as Karun said, a tactical masterclass. We just saw one of the Lolas coming to a stop at the end of that race up the top of Casino Square, and now Rowland makes his way down to the winner's circle with Nyck de Vries and Jake Dennis for company. So 3 different manufacturers on the podium here in Monte Carlo. Oliver Rowland takes his third win of 2025. He won in Mexico, he won race 2 in Jeddah, and he wins race 1 here in Monaco. What a performance for the blue-eyed boy from Barnsley. Absolutely superb. Great job.
Yeah, 3 wins at 6 races. That's a brilliant record, isn't it, for the start of the season for him. But you know what? As I just said to him there, I think he's got the best tactical brain. I think he runs the strategy almost from the cockpit. You hear him on team radio, and that's why he's winning it. We've got a attack mode that makes a real difference in terms of performance this year. We've introduced pit boost in a couple of races, and I really think he is the tactical master of the championship.
And so it is proving to be second place he finished here in 2019. He was the bridesmaid on that occasion, but now he can stand on the top step for the first time ever here in the Principality. What a race from Rowland. What a race in general, really, to be honest. And amazing for Nyck de Vries to claim Mahindra's first podium since Mexico 2023. Is the same again in 24 hours' time. Oliver Rowland won here in Formula 2 back in 2017. Nyck de Vries deciding to jump up one step on the podium as well. I'm not surprised. A great result there for them, and now time for the champagne to be sprayed. So it's time for the dignitaries to take a swift leave of absence, and for anybody in the firing line, it's time to check out the local dry cleaners here in Monte Carlo. Oliver Rowland sprays the champagne on the top step for the 3rd time in 2025.